Television is filled with scripted situations. Nevertheless, occurrences do occur from time to time. Upon breaking past the screen, something emotionally enthralls us. When Kelly Ripa, America's morning TV darling, began to cry, that is exactly what occurred. By disclosing something so private and unexpected, she stunned and amazed awestruck audiences. Her husband, actor Mark Consuelos, is fighting cancer. The celebrity news story in question was anything from ordinary, a story of love, dread, and triumph over tragedy. It was easy to identify with. What happened after that disastrous on-air outburst, though, and what triggered it? If you want to know the incredible and heartbreaking truth behind Kelly and Mark's story, you'll have to keep reading. Transition to a title card. While chatting with Kelly Ripa, I had a breakdown. We learn of Mark and Swellow's fights with cancer. It started like any other morning. After exchanging some humorous banter, Kelly and Mark became fast friends. Laughter resounded across the studio. The mood shifted, though, halfway through the show. Kelly went through a strange patch. Her shaking hand was a sign that she was struggling to collect herself. It came to light later on. The secret that had been plaguing her for a while finally came out when she finally lost it. Throughout his life, Mark has battled cancer. Gasp escaped the audience. No breaks were made in the filming. Kelly, who was normally quite level-headed, lost it in front of the entire world when this happened. Such unvarnished honesty would cause a deluge of sympathy and countless questions about the reality behind the scenes. We must go back to its beginnings if we want to understand the gravity of that moment. Mark Consuelos and the energetic, bright, and dogged Kelly Ripa met in the 1990s on set of All My Children, and deepened on-screen relationship grew into a real-life romance. Following an elopement, they were married for decades and brought up 3 famous children. The public regarded them as more than simply famous celebrities. They demonstrated that love could prevail despite Hollywood's limitations. Sobbing over Mark's illness fight, Kelly did not feel the sensation of other news. Tragedies were unfolding in each of our living rooms. Behind the cameras was the dull and depleting reality of life at home. Kelly, behind closed doors, was smiling for viewers while balancing work, motherhood, and the enormous burden of caring. Envisioned all of the late-night hospital visits that will be necessary. In the kitchen, the parents chatting quietly as their children slept. Kelly prayed for the strength she didn't believe she had and fought back tears in those moments of solitude. They were now in the unseen section of their story. When the story reached that point, love was about more than just romance. It was about surviving. Mark Consuelos has long been admired for his magnetic presence and formidable influence. On the other hand, cancer is a great equalizer. It puts even the strongest people in our midst in their place. Those closest to Mark that he's shown remarkable courage upon learning of his diagnosis. He chose to be thankful instead of succumbing to his anxieties. His family, the quick identification, and the chance to fight again are all things for which he is thankful. Mark was the one who told Kelly, "We'll get through this together." While she was at her lowest, that solemn promise exposed the truth, and no illness could ever conceal it. They couldn't be separated. The news hit the Consuelos' children, Joan and Lola, very hard. As a family, they stood behind their father no matter how they dealt with it. Michael, the oldest, did a good job as a guardian. Lola wrote lyrics and music that lifted people up since she was a very sensitive person. Jocan, the youngest, brought joy back to the home just when everyone needed it. Seeing their kids rally gave Kelly and Mark the strength they needed. The family was able to stay together after the catastrophe. It hardened. Kelly has always been open about her gratitude to her loved ones, her faith, and her community. Having said that, this time her confession was more meaningful. It scared her. In an interview that followed, she said, "I wept more than I ever have before." So then it dawned on me. Weeping isn't an indication of fragility. It is a relief to have them. They are the ones that give hope. Since many of the millions of viewers had been there too, they could empathize. Kelly reminded us that we are all frail, but capable of tremendous fortitude. By letting her guard down and making her suffering accessible, the news of Mark's pain spread rapidly. Many followers took to the internet to share their stories of survival, prayers, and emails. Those who had been Kelly's cancer patients sent her encouraging letters, letting her know that she was not alone. The amount of affection conveyed was immense. On this controversial day, Kelly and Mark took it as proof that compassion triumphs over bigotry. Their argument was turning into something more, a shared fight strangers from across the nation banded together. What can we, the audience, take away from Kelly and Mark's story? The message couldn't be more straightforward. Love can be unjust. Miss my time on Live with Kelly and Mark as a co-host. When Kelly Ripa sobbed live on TV while discussing the difficulties her family had been through, it was a moving and tragic moment for viewers. She broke the news to him that her husband, Mark Bark-Consuelos, had been ill with cancer at a very vulnerable moment. Her tears revealed the depth of her feelings of love, fear, and strength as she navigated this challenging journey, highlighting how raw and emotional the situation was. It's no wonder Kelly's admirers were disappointed by the news. Even though the famous host is usually recognized for her vivacious personality and humorous TV interactions, her emotional performance revealed a new side of her. Since she usually manages to keep her job and family life in check, Ripa has long been admired as the epitome of poise and charisma. Even the hardest people can crumble under the weight of a dreadful illness like cancer. And in that instant, the veneer of beauty crumbled. Given the length of time Kelly and Mark have spent together on television, the news hit us harder. You can tell they get along great, and their romance is among Hollywood's most well-known. They have demonstrated commitment, cooperation, and support for one another during their decades-long marriage. Kelly's emotional collapse reveals the profound impact her husband's health issues have had on her. Additionally, research shed light on the invisible emotional toll that caregivers bear as they shoulder the burden of supporting those they care for while simultaneously navigating their own anxieties and feelings of powerlessness. Kelly's melancholy on stage was impossible to hide. Her heart was on her sleeve as she continued to speak those difficult words. It wasn't just about Mark's illness, it was also about their bond and the difficulty of facing life's uncertainties. Cancer is a terrible disease that affects not just the patient, but also their loved ones. The symbolism of Kelly's public display of vulnerability became the symbol of the often overlooked emotional labor of caregivers. Her profound news spread a great deal. There was no doubt that millions of others might have experienced similar conditions in their own families. Such compassionate comments demonstrated that everyone must face adversity. In a society where celebrities are often viewed as unapproachable, Kelly's tears showed that even the most exceptional people can experience emotional breakdowns, and her emotion increased her popularity. Mark is well known for his work in the entertainment industry. For a long time, he has been Kelly's unassuming ally, never letting the public in on his personal issues. But Kelly's emotional statement demonstrated just how grave the matter was. As she courageously shared the impact of cancer on her family and Mark's health, the audience was deeply impacted. I was reminded by her candor that real life isn't always like the romanticized movies we watch. It's about being together, loving, and grace in the face of adversity. The importance of having a support system and being cognizant of mental health issues were also topics of conversation after Kelly's fall on Live. A lot of those who provide care do it alone, without recognition or appreciation. Viewers of Kelly's emotional breakdown were likely reminded to appreciate those closest to them and to seek help when they feel overwhelmed by stress. She helped initiate a conversation that many people would rather avoid, and she demonstrated the complexities of love, family, and crisis. At its core, Kelly's on-air emotional collapse was more than just Mark's illness. It was also about the universality of sharing hardship with those we care about. Everyone battles, even the seemingly perfect. What a profound lesson. People will be inspired by Kelly and Mark's journey story, and she has proven that being weak can be the strongest thing